Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I wanted to do a video today talking about the brand new Pope that just got elected yesterday, and the history behind who the Pope is, what is his representation for the Catholic Church, a little bit of history on Catholicism, and him being the first American-born Pope to be elected in the history of the Catholic religion, and what kind of relationship with this situation have with the Vatican and the United States of America. So we have reached a historical moment in time for the first American Pope. And so let's get into it and let's talk about what this new journey and experience and how is it going to affect the world, let alone the United States. Well, who is the Pope, or what is the Pope? And we know that this gentleman is Pope Leo from Chicago, and I have roots in Chicago, so that makes me a very happy person. But there's a lot of things that we need to talk about. There's a lot of symbolism in that ceremony yesterday that could be viewed as either Christian and or maybe even slightly demonic. There's a lot of hypocrisy and dichotomies that are going on in the Catholic Church. So is the Pope a monarch? And a lot of people question that, and technically the answer is yes, the Pope is considered a monarch, specifically the head of state and government of Vatican City, the smallest independent state in the world. He holds supreme executive, legislative, and judicial power within Vatican City. The Pope's position is unique as he is an elected monarch chosen by the College of Cardinals. This form of monarchy is described as a theoretical elective monarchy where the Pope's religious authority is intertwined with his political power. So you always hear in America the separation of church and state. So if you listen to that last part, it says that this form of monarchy is described as a theoretical elective monarchy, where the Pope's religious authority is intertwined with his political power. This is some of the dichotomy and duality that you see in, does religion have a place in government? The issue of praying in public schools and that sort of thing. So you have this person who is the highest head of the Catholic Church, and he is an elected monarch who has religious authority, and it is intertwined with his political power. So people always wonder, does the Pope have any say in what goes on in the world? There has always been this montage or this underbrewing, what individual has the most power in the world? Is it the President of the United States? I don't necessarily think so. I think the Pope, who moves around in secrecy, you don't see him very much. You don't see his masses that he is presiding over to be very public. You know very little about this individual, but he has his hands in all kinds of things. So therefore, like I said, there is no separation between church and state. It's all a fallacy, right? And so he is a religious leader, but also there is a political connection with the Pope. Is he an advisor on wars? I think that yes, he is. He's supposed to be the principle of peace, but the Pope is getting phone calls for all kinds of things that have to deal with worldly issues. I think that's why you see that he drives around in a bulletproof golf cart. It makes you wonder, why would this religious leader, you have people like Mahatma Gandhi, you had religious leaders like Martin Luther King, uh, we've had all kinds of religious leaders, but you've never seen them drive around in a bulletproof car or golf cart. So that lets you know that the Pope has his hands in many, many layers of things that have a direct effect on not only Rome or Italy, but has a direct effect on the world, on people across the world. And where is Vatican City? Well, it's in Rome, Italy. And what is the duality and a dichotomy there? Well, as you all remember, being for someone who is Catholic, I'm not Catholic, I'm non-denominational, but for a person who is Catholic, they give all their praises to Jesus Christ. And let's look at the dichotomy and the duality with Rome. Remember, Rome was a place where Julius Caesar gave the order that he wanted this so-called messenger to be killed, who started preaching Christianity, but who grew up Jewish. That was Jesus Christ. And he ordered Pontius Pilate to give the order to crucify the messenger, who was Jesus Christ. So having the Vatican right in Rome, the same place many centuries ago, under the tutelage of Julius Caesar, gave the order to kill and crucify Jesus Christ. So that's just interesting to me that the Vatican is sitting right there in Rome, Italy, in Europe. What are the three places? And remember, the Vatican City is considered a city-state, just like the city of London is considered a city-state. But what are the three commonalities with Washington, D.C., Vatican City, and the city of London? Well, I just told you that two of those places are city-states. Washington, D.C. is not a city-state, but it is actually the capital of the United States, as we all know. And who has the ultimate governance? If the Pope has the ultimate governance over Vatican City, who has the ultimate governance over the United States of America? It would be the President of the United States. So there are the similarities between the Pope's position in politics and in governance and the President of the United States. Here again, there's no separation of church and state. And what do those three places have in common? Washington, D.C., Vatican City, and the city of London. Well, they have their own military, they have their own governance of rules separated from the country. Prime example, if you commit a crime in Washington, D.C., their crimes are all federal. There's no state crimes because Washington, D.C. is not a state. Many people don't realize that when they commit crimes in Washington, D.C., they are going to be federal first and foremost. And we know our federal government has what? A 98% conviction rate. And those three places, so Washington, D.C. has an independent police division, has an independent military, and has an independent rule of law on the books, just like Vatican City and the city of London. That triangle right there, the similarities in those three. And when we're talking about worldly issues, and you have President Biden, now you have Trump, those things are a triangulation of similarities, and they are connecting the dots of each other when it comes to world views. So the Pope is not just a religious leader. The Pope sits at the head of the table of all political major issues that are taking place. So you have this Ukraine and Russia war going on. Does the Pope have any say or authority over that? I think yes, he does. You have this Gaza Strip issue with Israel and Hamas. Does the Pope have anything to do with that? I think that yes, he does. I'm not saying he initiated those wars, but he is definitely an advisor and is answering questions and coming with some kind of deliverance outside of religion and more political than one would normally believe. Um, uh, Also, when you look at the ceremony, it kind of reminds you in many ways. When I was watching it yesterday, when we talk about this person being a religious leader, it kind of reminded you of Buckingham Palace with all the symbolisms, the uniforms, the Vatican and London and Buckingham Palace, where the Queen of England is the top governance of the city of London. There are some very interesting similarities in symbolism there. And of course, as I'm saying to you, remember the Vatican is supposed to be, and the Pope is supposed to be a religious order, not a political, but those religion and politics have an overlayer of each other that when you really look at it through a clear lens, it seems like it's all one and the same. And what is this going to say for, so there is a direct relationship with the Pope, the President of the United States, the Queen of England, and their monarchy. There are very many similarities and how they operate at the top of the food chain. So yes, when the Catholic religion and the cardinals are picking a pope, they're picking this person in the highest regard, and this person has a lot of power. But very few people know anything about the Pope and outside of his religious connection to Catholicism, what else does he do? There's a lot of politics involved. And also what is happening with the Catholic religion. You're seeing, and I'm right here in the Midwest, even in a place like St. Louis and Chicago, you're seeing a lot of parishes leaving, middle schools, parishes, churches, high schools that are closing. The numbers for individuals join the Catholic religion or the Catholic Church, those numbers have gone down considerably. The numbers of women entering the nunnery and men entering the priesthood, those numbers have gone down drastically. I cannot tell you, and I went to Catholic grade school and high school, and back in the 70s, and you saw nuns and priests all the time. You don't even see them. They're almost like a unicorn now. You hardly ever see them anymore. And what is that doing to the Catholic religion? Where is it headed? So is it by design that they chose an American born Pope this time to maybe fodder the restoration of the Catholic Church in America? Here again, there's a direct link between the Vatican, the United States, and London, the city of London, with the Queen of England. So what is going to take place now? Will we see increased numbers in the United States for people joining the Catholic religion? They claim that they are having all of these kinds of financial issues due to the numbers of the parishioners supporting and being active in the church. But the amazing thing about the Catholic religion and watching the ceremony in Vatican City, here the similarity is, again, just like in Washington, D.C. and our government. They print money each and every day. Do you really think that Catholic religion is going to go broke? I don't believe so. The Catholic religion has unlimited amounts of resources, gold. You walk into any of these cathedrals and you look at the amount of gold, how these churches have been built. Even when you look at some of the paintings on the wall of these cathedrals, sometimes it can be a little bit confusing with flying angels and pictures of or artist drawings of babies' faces, babies with wings in many of our cathedrals. It makes you wonder: is there a line being crossed between Christianity and the devil and satanic worship? The symbolism in many of these scenarios with the Catholic Church, and even them going through this ordeal to pick a new pope. When you look at the marching of the individuals and that kind of ceremonious thing that took place, it seems a little bit demonic to me. I know I'm going to get some criticism for this, but this whole religious component of God is good, the devil is evil. Of course, the devil was an angel of music. But it seems like there is some cross-pollination between the two. And you have to you have to remember, you also have to think, when you look at the Catholic religion and its inception, is it cult-like? I remember going back in the 70s where you talk to nuns and priests, and what do the Catholic Church, if you decide to become a nun or a priest, one thing they do is they remove you from your family. You go do your religious studies. You take an oath to not be garnered by the material world. You're talking about a scenario when they're in the seminary, no television. Your belongings, your economic situation is all at the support of the Catholic Church. Look at some of those similarities with a cult. To remove yourself from financial and economic stability, whether it's from your family or a job. When you join the Catholic religion as a priest or a nun, you're giving everything to the Catholic religion. So sometimes it makes you wonder. Also, it doesn't make sense to me that part of becoming a priest or a nun is that you can't have a relationship with the opposite sex in a physical form whatsoever. And I thought that God made us, man and woman, to be together. And part of that is to procreate, to have a family and have children. Where if you become a priest or a nun, that's antithetical to their philosophy. That does not make any sense. And of course, we know there's been tons of issues over the years with child abuse, sex abuse. There's been issues of possible trafficking. You see a lot of these priests and nuns that go to third world countries, whether it's Peru or Costa Rica, Mexico, and it's over hundreds of years. It makes you wonder, are they always doing the right thing? No matter if you become a nun or a priest, you're still a human being. I remember seeing priests that smoke and drank. I think there's also a real issue, and women can relate to this. There's a certain level of sexism. Remember, in the Catholic school, the nuns ran the school, but the priest was the overseer of it all. The priest made the final decision and did very little within the school beside run the mass on Sundays and whenever we had mass during the week. But the nuns ran the school, and they had to get the okay from the priest. They lived in separate chambers, but you never know. The human instinct will always take over, and there's always been rumors that priests and nuns have had relationships with each other. So it's really interesting. I think the Catholic Church is going to have to reform and change some things. I think marriage should be a possibility, or should be an acceptability in the church. They need to increase their patronage and their parishioners in the church. And I think that they need to take a strong look. The Catholic Church has been at the nemesis of child abuse issues for many, many years and decades. Those things need to be addressed. They've had hundreds of millions of payouts. Also, when you talk church and state, you never see that a priest goes to prison. They commit abuse and then they go to another city or parish somewhere else. That's hypocritical in and of itself and needs to be worked out. So there's a lot of things that are going on in the Catholic Church that need to be looked at from just a human standpoint and or a spiritual standpoint that needs to be a measuring stick of them being great examples of great people. There's been a lot of hypocrisy and dichotomy that has been taking place in the Catholic Church. And we will have to see if this gentleman, this new Pope, Pope Leo, is going to be able to garner and make those changes. The abuse thing with children is definitely a no-no. And there is historical documentation and perspective on that. The Catholic Church needs to take a look in the mirror and face its own demons and consequences, just like they tell us to repent and face our own demons and consequences. There is a duality there in and of itself. Tell me what you think. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of the Catholic Church, what the Pope's position really is. Why does he ride around in a bulletproof golf cart? You don't know very much about him. This is a mystery man. Who has the most power? What individual has the ultimate most power in the world? Is it the President of the United States, or is it the Pope of the Catholic Church? Those are real questions, and we need some real answers to. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.